And welcome to a abbreviated select board meeting. It is January 3rd. Has the meeting been officially warned?
Yes, it has.
Thank you. And just to try to clarify a couple of things, we were actually supposed to meet last night, and tonight was actually supposed to be a meeting where we were talking about the town plan. We did have a warning issue with that, so we decided to hold our select board meeting as we had canceled a second-class liquor license to this evening. Having said that, the meeting for the town plan has been rescheduled for January 14th at 5:30, and that is the portion of the town plan that deals with land use, and we know that that's we want to make sure that that word gets out there. So, and that is in a warning, and you should see a press release about that also in the paper. So we're looking for big attendance, and again, that will be January 14th at 5:30.
At 6 o'clock.
I would like to thank everyone.
It's at 6.
Or
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, excuse me, 6 o'clock.
Get here early to get a seat.
Yeah, get here early. I'd like to thank everyone who donated to the Christmas stocking and the Project Feed the Thousands. I know that the Christmas stocking reached their goal. That was in the paper today, and I do believe that Project Feed the Thousands, that's pretty amazing given the town that we're 12,000, and that's a considerable amount of money between both organizations. So thanks to all of you, and I'd like to wish you all a happy 2013, and we can always hope this year is better than last, and looking forward to my last 3 months on the board. I have announced again that I'm not running. Christopher, I don't know if he will announce tonight whether he's going to run or not run. Under committee reports, maybe he will give us an indication. But having said that, again, Happy New Year to everyone, and thank you to all those who donated. Barb, anything?
Under manager comments, just a couple. One is that the public hearing, the public 502 hearing is what it's called, for the proposed improvements on Putney Road. I had made an announcement that was going to be February 6th at 6 p.m. here in the select board meeting room. I got a call today that's actually been changed to March 7th. The state right-of-way is having some issues or aren't going to have their job done in time for the February 6th. So again, the public hearing on the improvements of the Putney Road, that would be the plan that included 4 roundabouts, will be March 7th. March 7th at 6 p.m. here in the select board meeting room. The I-91 bridge work, you're going to see there's going to be some changes back and forth of the being open to 2 lanes. It's going to be open to 2 lanes. They're going to try to have it open on 2 lanes at nights and on weekends, but it might be back down to 1 lane during the weekday. They're kind of going back and forth. This past weekend, we had a lot of past couple weeks, and I think we had a lot of issues with backup on I-91, and then people getting off of 91 to go through town to cut through. And backing up, a lot of traffic backups in both in Brattleboro and on I-91. We've spoken with the state, and hopefully by having both lanes open on 91, we'll resolve those issues when we get, as the ski traffic continues to pick up with snow. In a related story, the lights in the downtown are currently on flashing red. There is an issue. They're not in sequence right now, and so we'll be having someone in tomorrow to work on the lights, so they should be back functioning tomorrow. But that's just to give people an idea. So those are the 3 things I have.
Select board committee reports? Oh yeah, I need to. I'll do that after. because this meeting is so abbreviated, I would accept a motion on the minutes from December 13th.
Move to approve the minutes from December 13th.
Additions, corrections, deletions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And the motion on the minutes from December 18th, December 18th, yes.
Move to approve the minutes from December 18th.
Any additions, corrections, deletions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And I think that catches us up. Public participation, I see no one here. So I will accept a motion to go into liquor commissioners.
Move to convene as liquor commissioners.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
4-0. Yeah, we are liquor commissioners.
First up, this was tabled from a prior meeting. The 7-Eleven is applying for a second-class liquor license and tobacco license for their location on 1020 Western Avenue. This is a change of ownership, which is why it's the new license. Matthew Mimo, the assistant, I apologize if I mispronounced the last name, the assistant manager is here this evening to answer any questions that the board might have about this application. If you wanted to, you can just come up, Matt, to the microphone. Thank you for coming.
Sorry about the communication issue or what happened.
No problem.
I would accept a motion to approve the second-class liquor license and tobacco license.
I move to approve the second-class liquor license and tobacco license for 7-Eleven Inc., DBA 7-Eleven store number 32510K at 1020 Western Ave.
Discussion.
Can you just give me 1 second?
Yeah?
Okay, I'm good.
Okay.
Sorry.
Good?
Yeah.
All those, no one has any questions? All those in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
All set?
That's it. Thanks.
Nice job.
The only thing that would expedite that is if you wanted to drive the license up to Montpelier to get it stamped. I know that they usually mail them up. That takes a couple days, but if you contacted Annette Cappy, the town clerk,
I can come get it, we can...
you can go and get it to expedite it. Might help you for the weekend,
Okay, thank you very much.
so, thank you.
Can I just say what was a little confusing to me, and what's still a little confusing to me is that, and I know it's too late, so it's fine, is that he's not technically the licensee, is he?
With an establishment like the 7-Eleven, and this is an odd situation in which the corporation of 7-Eleven is actually taking back over this, as opposed to being a normal franchise when you'd have the owner. You're basically the closest you're going to get is the manager.
Gotcha. No, and I see your name as the person who attended the liquor control licensee education seminar, so that's why it was fine. It's just the form is, I guess, in this very weird circumstance, it's a little confusing.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, thank you.
No problem. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
I'll accept the motion to adjourn as liquor commissioners.
Move to adjourn as liquor commissioners.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye vote. New business.
This is the second reading and a public hearing on amendments to Appendix C of the town ordinances. This is to remove a parking space on Main Street in front of the Gibson Akins. Under Appendix C, regulation governing the control of traffic, Article 2, parking, 16-100, no parking areas. The following locations are hereby designated as no parking areas. We would be proposing the addition of number 71 on the easterly side of Main Street in front of the Gibson Akins Center, northerly from the entrance to the Merchants Bank to Harris Place. If you want to have the public hearing.
I would open the public hearing to take comment.
I have a comment, but is this the appropriate time?
Sure.
Okay. I'm wondering if we could just discuss this because I've noticed that we have lost a number of parking spaces on Main Street over the past few years as part of upgrades to the parking footprint in town, especially on Main Street. And as a frequent downtown shopper, I'm a little disturbed to find yet another parking place disappearing from Main Street, where we have our busiest cluster of businesses. I see the reason for this request for this removal is that vehicles parked in that space, it's just one space, right?
Correct.
Obscures the sight of persons in the crosswalk. I have a couple of questions about that. One is about traffic calming. Isn't narrowing a street something that helps drivers get the idea that they should move a little more slowly? Wouldn't getting rid of that one last right-hand parking place open that stretch of Main Street up to someone in a hurry, actually creating more of a danger to pedestrians than is the case right now. So well, those are my main concerns. I'm concerned about Main Street becoming less safe because what amounts to a traffic calming measure, whether it was intended or not, will be removed. And it just makes it a little more difficult to find a place to park on Main Street if we take away yet another spot.
David?
This proposal began at the Traffic Safety Committee, and so I'll speak to the support from the committee and my personal support for the proposed amendment. I think it's fair to say that since the state-sponsored work on Main Street, repaving and putting in some new sidewalk and curbing, it's generally thought, and I agree, that Main Street is less pedestrian friendly than it used to be as a result of the imposition of certain state-related guidelines. We have less crosswalks on Main Street than we used to. The crosswalk that used to run from the Baptist Church to Center Congregational Church has been removed. Also, the crosswalk that used to run from the library over towards Brattleboro Savings and Loan has been removed. It results in more jaywalking. It also results in more heavy use of the remaining crosswalks. The southerly crosswalk at the post office is particularly dangerous because of the single parking space north of the Merchants Bank satellite there. The significant concern that we heard is that people do not receive deference from drivers who are going past, and that the proximity of that space to the crosswalk results in lower visibility, and that people essentially take their lives into their hands when they need to step out into the street from in front of a parked car into a crosswalk and in a crosswalk. And Traffic Safety Committee uniformly believed that removal of that parking space would make it more safe to cross at that location, because there would be a clear line of sight from the last space in front of Center Church right to that crosswalk. So I'm in favor of removing this parking space and making it safer for people who are using that crosswalk.
I wonder,
Sure.
Dave, what about the matter of traffic calming? I think it's recognized as a standard practice to calm traffic is to create the impression of a narrower roadway, and we have that at that location by virtue of that parking place. I notice that there's very little, every time I use that space, I notice there's very little in the way of speeding traffic. I guess the second thing I would ask you about is any history of pedestrian accidents and close calls. Do you have an awareness in that regard about that crosswalk?
I'm aware of significant complaints about people feeling that their safety is at risk when they have to step out from in front of the parked car into the crosswalk in the middle of the street. I understand the concern about traffic calming by having vehicles parked, but it is my understanding that there's not supposed to be parking as a general matter within that close proximity to a crosswalk. So having that parking space there actually, if I understand, would violate the warrant relating to proximity of parking spots to crosswalks.
I see. So that space is essentially grandfathered?
I don't think it's a matter of being grandfathered, it just means it's not supposed to be there, it's too close to the crosswalk.
I see. So it violates a design standard?
I think that's fair to
Yes.
say.
Okay.
We're not sure why this, it's unclear to us why the state put that in, actually, to be honest.
Why they allowed it in?
Why they allowed it in.
Oh, really?
It was, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that addresses my concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. I will close the public hearing and accept the motion.
I move to approve the ordinance to the amendment to Appendix C, Article 2, Section 16-100, removing the parking space on the easterly side of Main Street to the south of it in front of the Gibson-Aiken Center.
There you
One more question.
go. Sure.
That is,
Further
when would this-
discussion?
Thanks. When would this become effective?
30 days?
21 days
21
from
days.
Saturday. or
60
something.
days now, the new charter. It's in your, it gets published, not this weekend, the following weekend, because we can't get it in this weekend paper, and then it's 60 days from today's approval, which will be in March. That's the
Really?
new charter.
Are we, is that according to Bob?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. He reviewed this yesterday.
Maybe we'll fix that chart.
Oh, yeah, good.
Some unintended consequence, I think.
Further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? 4-0. And the last item of business here for this evening.
The board has asked 2.2 members, Josh Hilston and Victoria Manigan, to the Town Energy Committee.
I move to appoint Josh Hilson to the Town Energy Committee for a 2-year term ending June 30th, 2013, and to appoint Victoria Manigan to the Town Energy Committee for a 2-year term ending June 30th, 2014.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. Meetings?
Actually, a lot. On Monday, January 7th at 5 p.m., the Energy Committee meets in the Hannah Cosman Room. Also on that Monday at 6 p.m., the West River Park meeting they are meeting in the Gibson-Aiken Conference Room. On Tuesday, the 8th at 4 p.m., the Arts Committee meets here in the Select Board meeting room. At 4:30, the Finance Committee meets in the Hannah Cosman meeting room. Also on that Tuesday at 4:30, the Wastewater Treatment Plant Upgrade Oversight Committee meets over at the Wastewater Treatment Plant. And at 7 p.m., the Tree Advisory Committee meets in 7 p.m. The Tree Advisory Committee meets in the Hannah Cosman meeting room. Thursday, January 10th at 5:30, we, the Select Board, will be holding a special meeting to talk about the FY14 budget. On Friday, the 11th at 10 a.m., the ADA Advisory Committee will be meeting in the Marlboro College Graduate Center. On Monday, the 14th at 6 p.m., the Planning Commission and the Select Board will be meeting here in the Select Board meeting room to talk about the town plan, specifically the land use section. At 6 p.m., also the Rec and Parks Board will be meeting in the Gibson-Aiken Center. And on Tuesday, the 15th at 6:15 p.m., the Select Board will be holding its next regularly scheduled meeting. Are we going into?
Are we all set?
Yes.
I would accept a motion to go into executive session to discuss a personnel matter.
I move to enter executive session to discuss a personnel matter as to which the board has concluded that premature public disclosure put the town at a substantial disadvantage, and I invite in
The town
the
manager.
town manager.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0.
Can I have signatures?
Yep. And I do not anticipate any action when we come out of the executive session. Yep.
Is that a record? Did we win?
Yes.